Welcome everybody. Here we go with lesson 410 continued again. Finally, more two-step equations, but today with the distributive property. Go ahead and pause your video. I'll show 8 problems at a time. Pause, come on back when you're ready. Just a note, many people wrote add the opposite. That's totally up to you. They do mean the same thing, so that's up to you. And so finally we move from all this mess to using it in an equation. Hard to get tougher than this unless you add in some other kind of numbers such as fractions, decimals, continuing with positives and negatives. But for today, focusing on using the distributive property to solve equations. In fact, why don't I calm your nerves a bit and just take you to there to begin with. So let's look at a playground, shall we? It's a playground 36 feet long. Perimeter is 114 feet. We would like to know what's the width. Now, first things first, write an expression for the sum of the length and width of the playground. Well, come on, Mr. Cowan, that's 36 plus an extra W. Now, write an expression that represents twice. After all, we have another 36 and W, so that would be 2 groups of 36 and W. Now we can write that and turn that into an equation, and you can see where we could use the distributive property to solve equations. Now, first things first, let's distribute. Why write 2 groups of 36 when you could write 72? Why write 2 groups of W when you can write 2 W's? No more groups, and we get into an equation we know how to solve. Let's go ahead and add a negative 72 to both sides. That would leave us with 2 times the width is 42 feet. Of course, we're going to split that into the 2 widths to get a final width of 21 feet. So that, ladies and gents, if we can handle this one extra step, simplify your life first, get rid of any groups, combine any like terms, simplify first, then guess what? It's a 2-step equation that we have done for a while. Let's do a couple more examples here. First, I'm going to start on the left. And if you need to, you can, let me make this one disappear for a second. You can always, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have 2 groups of that. You can always make a model. That's one side of the equation. On the other side of the equation, we'd have 20. Now, of course, you're asking yourself, why write 2 groups of X when you could write 2 X's? And why write 2 groups of 4 when you could write, whoa, Mr. Callan, check this out. We actually are asking for the opposite. So all those X's turn into negative X's, and all those positives will turn into negatives, and therefore make a negative 8. But from there, we should be okay. So, goal, let's find out what X is. How do we get rid of a negative 8? We're going to add 8. We're going to add a positive 8. Why does that work out? Because when we add 8 to negative 8, 0 pairs up and disappears. 0 pairs, oh, we better be fair. Add 8 to both sides. So let's go ahead and add 8 to both sides. Negative 8 and a positive 8 make 0. Leaving us with the opposite of 2x's is equal to 28. Naturally, you're going to ask yourself, well, I don't want the opposite of 2x's, so let's go ahead and split it up into 2 groups. Let's go ahead and split this up. Well, let's see here. As long as I have the same amount of money in each group, right? Which means we're going to split it up into two. Mr. Callen, we don't want to know what the opposite of x is. So let's go ahead and split it and change it so that we have x equals. And you can probably already guess if the opposite of x is positive 14, then the opposite of the opposite, or a normal x, would be negative 14. And yes, you could go through all that model and change that to positive x's and change all those positive symbols to plus symbols. Now, of course, I want to show you briefly what it's like to check. We have the opposite of 2 times some number, add 4, equals 20. Sorry about this problem down here. But we think we know what this number is. Well, order of operations tells us take care of grouping symbols first. Why write 2 groups of something when you could say 14 and negative 4, negative 14, negative 4 make a negative 10. Negative 2 times negative 10 is positive 20. And sorry about my messiness right here. 20 is the same as 20. It's a true statement. Oh, did it again. So I would like to point out, I don't believe our directions for our assignment today say solve and check, but I wanted to show you, you can always check an algebraic equation if you substitute in the number you believe is going to work and then solve for that. And in this case, negative 14 is the only number that would make that statement true. All right, onward we go. Let's just make our lives easier and use some black, shall we? Why write 5 groups of n when we could write 5 groups of 1 when we could write 5? Why write 5 groups of n when we could write n? Now, in this case, we know that we can use the commutative property to put the variable term first. But after all, we don't really want that positive 5, so let's subtract or take away. Yes, you are welcome at any time to change subtraction to adding the opposite. Meanwhile, as you can imagine, 5 and negative 5 cancel out, leaving us with 5 envelopes of money equaling $25, but we want to know what a single envelope is. So let's go ahead and split that up into 5 groups. 5/5 leaves us 25/5. And then, of course, should I not? No, I already showed you how to check it. If you want to, you may. But most of us can actually just kind of mentally check. 5 plus 1, 6. 6 times 5, 30. Boom! Got it. Onward. Here is the big fella. If you were to go to your coaching worksheet, I'll explain in a moment. I'm going to pop all the way down to number 9. Maybe I'll come back to this problem. If you can do number 9, you can do anything on this page. All right? Now, we've already said, okay, so our goal, C equals. But just look at this side of the equation. Let me put up a screen shade here. I guess I could have asked, is there anything to simplify on this right side? No, it's just 43. But if you look at the left side, there's a lot of stuff there that could be simplified. Oh, first we got some groups, right? So 3, why write 3 groups of C? You can write 3 C's. Why write 3 groups of 1? You could write 3. Notice the 7 C's not a part of the group, nor is the negative or opposite of 6 C's a part of the group. So don't multiply either of those terms times 3. Now, I feel like we got some more simplifying to do. So I'm going to look around for some like terms. I'm seeing some variable terms. I see one constant term. There's another variable term. Negative 6 C's plus 3 C's is negative 3 C's plus another 7 C's. So essentially what I'm doing, folks, picture that model. Some of those are going to cancel out. Some of those are going to make 0 pairs. Negative 6 plus 3 C's. is negative 3 C's. Now go ahead and add 7 more C's. Hey, we can combine some like terms there. Was there anything to combine with this positive 3? No, not on that side. But holy cow, we have just made our lives so much easier. In fact, from here on out, it's a two-step equation, isn't it? We go ahead and say, what part of that has nothing to do with the 4 envelopes of money? Well, that positive 3 has nothing to do with it. Let's get rid of that extra $3. Positive 3, negative 3 makes 0. Good, that leaves us with 4 envelopes of money is equal to 40. Let's go ahead and split it up 4 times. Because 4 C's split into 4 parts is 1 C. No, you don't have to write that 1. 40 split into 4 parts is 10. And so we're not really doing anything new today. Think about it. We've already done distributing. We've already done simplifying and grouping our like terms. And we've already done equations and solving equations. Now, I'm not going to look you in the eye and tell you this is easy, but we already have the skills. The challenge comes in synthesizing those skills, bringing them all together. Now, dare I do it? Dare I do it? Why not? Let's go ahead and check. Negative 6 times some number plus 3 times parentheses, add that number plus 1, plus 7 times that number is equal 43. We think that number is 10. True or false? Order of operations says do grouping symbols. 10 and 1 is 11. So we have negative 6 times 10, 3 times 11, 7 times 10. Order of operations tells us to do multiplication left to right. Negative 60, 3 11s is 33. 7 groups of 10 is 70. Negative 60 and a positive 33, negative 27. Negative 27 plus 70, go down 20, that's 50. Go down 7, that's 43. Well, hot diggity dog. Again, I will reiterate, I will repeat myself. I am not asking you to check on your assignment tonight, but boy, if you're ever stuck, you always can. All right, go ahead and title your page. Name, date, period, and then actually your page is, you're just going to write coach's worksheet. This is assignment number 39 because you're going to put all your work on this piece of paper. If you want, you can put your answers on the coach's worksheet, but again, let me reiterate, let me repeat. You will be putting your work, problem, work, solution on this piece of paper. Notice I did not say check. The directions simply say solve these equations. Now, I really had a cool coaching opportunity where you would coach a partner. You would have side A and they would have side B, and you'd go back and forth. But since we can't do that because we're not together in school, I'm going to give everybody side A for today. Although I don't know if you noticed, if you looked real closely, numbers 9 through 14 are the same problems. All right, that's all I have, folks. Take care, do well, and let's grow.